Different's great, but being different for the sake of being different, I'm not a big fan of, right? If you just want to be different for the sake
technology
of it. Technology
increased, I would hide behind it.
And you start to hear some of their challenges, and yes.
Because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives you.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Master Connector Show. I'm your co-host, Rob Genovesi, and we want to thank you for joining us today. And actually, we hope you're joining us every single week as we come at you live Wednesdays, 1 p.m. Eastern Time on LinkedIn, on YouTube, and you can pick the show up after it's done on Spotify and Apple Music and wherever you listen to great podcasts. But listen, we have an amazing show for you today because the Master Connector Show is all about bringing amazing guests. We're going to share their experiences and their stories. People are going to help you connect the dots on how to complete your success journey. You know, my co-host and I, Steve, we're friends for 27 years, introduced to each other through business contacts, through entrepreneurs, local businessmen, training. I mean, we were two guys. Now, Steve had a business, I had a business, but we were finding our way. We are two introverts, two former shy guys looking to make it in business. And we knew one thing for sure. If we were going to make it in business, we had to be able to connect with people, build the relationships, build a network of people that are going to help us achieve what we want to achieve in life. And, you know, you can do things on your own. And I still do that kind of thing. I'm kind of a lone wolf kind of guy. But I do know that in order to build something bigger, you need other people, if not to be resources for your opportunity, but also to learn from. See, as iron sharpens iron, one man sharpens another. And so that's how you fill in the gaps between your knowledge bases in order to connect the dots to help you succeed at a bigger and better level. So listen, you want to be a connector with people. This show is about connecting. So audience, get in the comments with other people. Find out who they are. Find out where to find them. Look them up on LinkedIn. Connect with them. Follow them. Learn from them. This is about connecting. It's not just about relationships, which we hear all the time. It's about connecting. And listen, I am fortunate to be friends with the Master Connector. So let's bring him on, Mr. Steve Spiro. What's up, Steve?
What's up, Rob G? Hey, listen, I'm impressed. You're quoting scripture now. Iron sharpens iron. Look at you, man.
Yeah, I slipped it in there, Steve.
I noticed it stood out like a sore thumb there. That's awesome. Way to go. But I'm excited. And yeah, we have had an amazing journey and been around some incredible people and still surround ourselves with amazing people. And you're one of those guys for me, sir. So I appreciate you. But what's going on, friends? Steve Spiro, the Master Connector, coming at you live and direct. And yeah, this is going to be an incredible day. Today already is. And so here's a question for you. Have you ever wondered how some people inspire action and change without even crossing the line into manipulation? You know, I heard it said a while ago, and it was from one of my favorite books, How to Win Friends and Influence People. It was a story about this mule, and there was somebody was trying to get the mule out. It was a young man trying to get the mule, just pushing, and the mule just wouldn't go. And there was a woman that was she knew that this particular mule was still suppling, I guess, with milk from his mother mule or whatever, and so she proceeded to take her thumb and put in the mouth of the mule and gently pulled the mule out and literally was able to get him out of the stall. And the point of that is if you know what somebody wants, they'll move heaven and earth to get it. And, we're going to talk about influence today. We're going to talk about, influence without manipulation. And that is interesting because, there's a lot of stuff out there. I did a post today about the influencers, right? We see them a lot on social media. I see a lot of these mentor guru people, and no disrespect, I'm sure they're amazing. But for me, and I shared a little bit about this, I've had a key influencer in my life who's been a mentor to me. And that has been amazing because he knows the good and the bad and the ugly of Steve Spiro. He knows me as a person. He knows my strengths. I was fortunate to be able to work with him on some projects. So it wasn't like it was I like to call it mentorship from afar, where, try this, try that, let me know how you make out. It was real applicable application, right? Where, so it's things that we're working on. And he knew, when I was rubbing people wrong, he got word of that, and he knew, hey, this guy needs to grow his people skills. And I still probably need to grow my people skills. I think Rob felt that a little bit in the green room just a little bit ago. Rob, our guest, Rob Jolles. But anyway, he saw the things that I was good at and the things that weren't so good at. But ultimately understanding where I want to go, my visions, my needs, my wants, my desires. To me, when you find something like that out about somebody, then ultimately you could actually help them, and helping them get what they want is way better than having to push them into something that you want. And, one of the pillars of our show is being others focused. And so I believe this is at the core heart of that, which is, again, influence based upon them, what they want, knowing what they want and helping them get it versus getting something you want. And it's going to be great. So if you're ready to have my man, Mr. Rob G, introduce our incredible guest, type in the comments. Let's go. Robbie G, I'll pass it to you.
All right, let's go. Rob Jolles is a sought-after speaker and 5-time bestseller. 5 times. He spent over 3 decades traveling close to 3 million miles in the air, teaching, entertaining, and inspiring audiences worldwide. His books have been featured in USA Today, Investors Business Daily, Harvard Business Review, Publishers Weekly, and have been translated into over a dozen languages. His programs have allowed him to amass a client list that reads like a who's who of Fortune 500 companies, including Toyota, GE, Microsoft, Disney, Bristol-Myers Squibb, the Wharton Business School, a dozen universities, and over 50 financial institutions. Rob is also host of over 400 podcast-sized pep talks, a podcast he launched over 4 years ago, and now currently in the top 2% of downloads nationally. Please welcome to the show, Rob Jolles. Hey, Rob, what's up?
Boy, I love that intro. I can't believe it's me, but good to be here, man.
It's awesome. And listen, I apologize for mispronouncing the name Jolles. Appreciate that. But yeah, very impressive background. And I just want to acknowledge real quick here, community, get in the comments, as Rob said, connect with each other, make sure because we don't know you're on with us unless you're in the comments for sure. So, but I want to acknowledge, Wilma, who I recently reconnected with. Great to have you on here with us. But Rob, speaking of which, it's a pleasure to have you on here. And I feel like I'm the odd man out because I'm not a Rob, right? We got Rob and Rob. So I feel left out. Maybe I need to change my name here, but great having you on here, sir.
We'll make you an honorary Bob. You gotta earn the right to get the Rob status, but anybody can be a Bob. You're at Bob. You're good.
Absolutely. I'll take it. Well, hey, let's dig right into it. Let's jump in. So the community, type in #influence. So it's funny because we were talking about that before, influence versus, the manipulation piece of it. And, I want to share, I want you to share a little bit. And, for me, I love when somebody has, they're able to influence me in a way that actually is in line with my goals. And, I don't like when people are pushing. So here's the question. How do you clearly define the difference between influence and manipulation in real world situations?
Got it. And I'm going to hit that right now, but I do want you to know something. Be prepared and buckle up, because influence isn't always pretty. And sometimes you may not know what you want, Steve, but I might be a subject matter expert in an area that you're looking at. And so I may have to ask questions that don't make you feel so good. So just be prepared for that side of it. Okay. But I'm going to answer your question. The difference is actually quite simple. And it was a challenge when I wrote the book, because I wrote it in one sentence and I went, well, now I only have about 49,990 more words to go. But really, it actually comes down not even to a sentence, to a word. And the word is intent. What is the intent? Meaning, to me, as a guy who's written other sales books, there aren't two separate sales processes, one when you're manipulating and one when you're influencing. So it's the intent of the model that we're talking about. And intent meaning, am I trying to work with Steve right now to get him over a hurdle, his fear of change, and help him find another way because it'll be good for Steve? Or am I doing all this because I'm 2 sales short of a bonus and a cruise. And in other words, I don't know if it's good for him, but I know it's good for me. That's where intent really gets a little bit foggy. And I hope we get to talk about that, because we don't intentionally do it, but our intent can get misled a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. It's funny because a lot of times I think often it's a heart thing, and you want to keep your heart to the point where you want to really help other people, be that others focused heart. And but you're right. There are times where we get self-focused, and I lived a whole life like that. So, but I appreciate that. And by the way, I want to welcome amazing. She's always here, like clockwork. Yolanda, incredible community member. Welcome on the show here, and also getting some kudos and love from Yolanda, welcoming you as well. She's not welcoming Rob, my partner, because she already.
Wait, did you catch that? Did you catch the Who Loves Your Baby?
We got dueling Rob on the show.
Did she do that? Who Loves Your Baby?
I saw it somewhere.
Oh, there you go. All right.
You know why, right?
Yeah, I got to get a lollipop. Every time she does that, I have to get a lollipop as a prop, Anyway, you millennials probably don't know what we're talking about, but there was a show on back on old time 70s, 80s TV called Kojak. He was a shaved head, bald guy like me, and he used to go around. He was a cop, and he'd go around with a lollipop. So it's pretty cool. But anyway,
Telly Savalas is the actor you're talking about, by the way.
Yes, exactly. Telly Savalas, exactly. All right, let's keep this ball rolling here. And listen, I appreciate you keeping us straight here, and definitely don't be shy. I know you won't. But I want to talk about process, right? And that's a big buzz today, is on process. So community talk, put in the comments, #process. What predictable process can someone follow to inspire change without crossing ethical lines?
Yeah. And in 60 seconds or less, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the first thing we have to do, and I don't want this being part of my answer, but we have to create trust. Okay. So let's park that for a second, because assuming that we have trust, assuming I've earned the right to ask you more difficult questions, meaning I don't just walk in and go, "Hi, Steve, what kind of problem are you having with your hairdo today?" That I haven't earned the right to get there. But once trust is earned, when we talk about really creating urgency, we're talking about not only getting to the issue that a client has, and quite frankly, you're probably not having the conversation if there are no issues. So the client is bringing you an issue. I can tell you, in a decade of working for Xerox and learning every process, I was a salesman trainer for Xerox. The greatest thing I ever learned was not just earning the right to get at a problem-related question, but learning how to go deeper, much like what you're doing on this podcast. Not just asking a guest a question like me, but following it up with another question and another question and going deeper, because we know one thing: the bigger the problem, the bigger the need. And the bigger the need, the more energy somebody feels to actually solving that problem. By the way, and diffusing price at the same time. So I can talk about this for 3 days, but to just keep it nice and trim, not only getting at the problem, but almost utilizing your improv skills and going as deeply as you can without painting that picture for somebody else. That's what begins to initiate change.
Rob, you made me think of an experience I had a while ago. And, I came out of 25 years in corporate, and I was looking to build a business maybe on the side. I didn't have enough skills, but one of the skills I learned along the way was somebody taught me how to clarify and ask questions. And I remember I had a referral to this guy, and he was a chair of a decent sized organization. And he said, "I'm not sure if you can help me." And he took the next 5 minutes to just blah. I mean, everything was coming out, and we're doing this and we're doing that. And we're doing this. And I learned, let somebody speak and get it off their chest, because if you don't, they won't hear a word you're saying. And I realized after a while, he wasn't going to stop talking. So I said, "Excuse me, can I?" Now, I never met this guy before. I said, "Can I ask you a question?" He goes, "What?" I said, "What is the business challenge you're actually looking to solve here?" And there was a long pause, and he goes, "Nobody ever asked me that question before." And in the next 60 seconds, he gave me the answer. And you talk about, asking the questions and getting to the bottom of things. Sometimes I learned the quality of the question is better than just a question, right?
Oh, absolutely. And there are many different types of questions. Do you understand that the most basic form of question that I'm guessing 98% of the people who are listening right now have already heard and are going to roll their eyes, just learning what an open probe is and actually utilizing it, because it's not an interrogation we're having with another person. It's a conversation like the three of us are having right here. And there's give and take. Rather than me ask you, do you do this? Do you do this? And do you do that? Why don't I just lean back and say, walk me through how you accomplish this? But we know that the more the other person talks, typically the more they trust the person that they're talking to. So it's an unconscious incompetency, meaning a lot of people don't know that, but they don't know. But if everyone listening today, we'll go deeper. If everyone listens today, actually makes a commitment to really utilize open probes and lay off the problem early, you just got the best sales training class that you probably have ever gone to, if you can commit to doing this for the rest of your career.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, one of my favorite books is How to Have Power and Confidence in Dealing with People. And I believe in that book, he talks about the why question, like almost like a little kid, right? Like why? And,
Yeah.
you know, and why?
Like a 3-year-old. Cause why?
And
Cause
why?
why?
Because why? Yeah. And, you know, because eventually, after sometimes you have to go 3 or 4 layers deep, you finally find out the real pain point. It's not always the first thing they bring up. Sometimes it's got to go a little deeper. Yeah.
Right. And that's where people fall short, particularly in sales, because we think we're getting sales trained when we're getting product trained. So we're pumped with product. If that isn't enough for you, we got continuing education to pump you with more product. And then we regurgitate that out because we just got sales trained. To simply stop talking and ask questions is a huge move. I don't care if you know the answer to your question. Let the other person paint that picture. And oh, by the way, it's harder to ask questions than to talk. You got to think on your feet. You got to move.
Yeah. But right. I'm actually in the process of formulating my TEDx talk, and it's going to be I'm messing with a couple different ideas, but one of the ideas is that as an introvert, we actually have an advantage to human connection because we don't like to talk as much, and we tend to listen more. And so, So I think I took that part of me as a person into the sales realm, and I think that helped me bring success because I was able to, you know, listen more and not be so quick to want to just, you know, blah blah, you know, like just vomit on them, you know. But ultimately, right, it you know, in anything, and in particular in the sales realm, you know, ultimately we're looking to come to a decision, and the decision might be, you know, yes, I want to move forward. Yes, I need some time, or yes, I'm not looking to do it right now, and that might be a no, right? So decision is the key here. So I'd like to dive into that a little bit as we take this conversation to the next level. So community, type in #decision. So what's the best way to identify when somebody is at a key decision point in their journey, Rob?
Yeah, great question. Trial closes. Trial closes are so underrated. And the sad part is, if everyone is listening, probably thinking it's like the only really trial close we've ever been taught is, if I could show you a way, Rob, to perform that, or Steve, to perform that TED Talk better, would you buy my program from me? Okay. Yep. And that's called a pre-commit. And oh, by the way, I'm not all that opposed to it. I think it's typically in the wrong place. It comes very late if needed at all. But when we study decision cycles and patterns, we realize that people go through 3 critical decision points. One, the biggest one that we'll ever face, whether you're a salesperson or a parent or a manager, I don't really care. The biggest decision point another person goes through is, do I want to consider making a change or not? Because people will whine about jobs and different things for years. But we also learned that people don't fix small problems. They fix big problems. So they're driving that old car that's never lost its transmission, because why would they change it? It apparently it will never lose its transmission. So our job is to help people pass that. That's their first decision point. Do I want to make a change or not? Second one is, okay, I want to make a change. Now, what am I going to make that change look like? What do I need? I want to make a TED Talk. I've decided it. Now, what resources do I need? Who's going to help me? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then where am I going to get it from? When we understand decision cycles, we understand that decision points and trial closes can follow. For instance, last one, the greatest trial close I think that no one ever asks is if somebody is sitting there and telling you this is a problem. Oh, it's a big problem. Oh, it's costing us a lot of money. Oh, that's why I brought you in. Oh, why don't we just ask them? Then let me ask you this. Are you committed to making a change? If you get a yes to that, you just got a green light, not to them features and benefits on them, but to begin to construct what the solution should look like. But if somebody says no, why would you want to say, well, let's look at it anyway? So there is a go, no go, but it's a wonderful trial close that no one asks. They're loading up too big. There's smaller decisions that people need to make. Test those decisions out.
Yep.
So what I'm hearing, Rob, which is different from years ago, and I like how you kind of mapped it out to what people used to say a lot and used to be very effective. You know, when people hear something a lot, after a while, it dilutes its ability to do its job, right? So I get where you're coming from with that. But what I'm hearing you say is it's change. And is it the fear of changing? Is it the energy to change that stops people from making that decision?
Door number one, it's the fear of change. It's the fear of the unknown. The pain of the present often outweighs the fear of the unknown. So I'm working with Steve here, and you know what? He's a decent vendor, but there isn't a whole lot going. We don't have much of a relationship. I'm just speaking hypothetically. And so I'm going to whine about it. And a salesperson's going to come in and they're going to talk to me about it. But all of a sudden I'm meeting with you, Rob, and I'm thinking, gee, that's a whole different way of looking at it. That looks really interesting and exciting. But I know Steve. I even know where he messes up sometimes. I know how to fix it and who to call. So a lot of times I'll just stick with not so hot as opposed to going the other way. And that's why we dig deeper. That's why we ask cuz why. Because if it's a small problem, it's a small need. If it's a small need, I don't think I want to take that risk. But if the potential impact could be huge, then you know what? I think it is worthwhile considering change. So it can't be tepid. That's why we've got to dig deeper on those problems.
Yep. I love it. Yeah. So one of the questions that I like to ask, and I think it's a great question, it's in line with exactly what you're talking about, is timing. So the change you're looking for, or the solution you're looking for, what's the timing? You're looking for it in a week, a month, a year? What's your timing? And if they say as soon as possible, it's green light for a close, right? And if they say, maybe in a couple weeks, we're right there, But anyway, great stuff. I want to just welcome Iman. I'm showing if I'm saying it right, but welcome to the Master Connector Show. I don't think we've had him on. And we have our good friend and supporter of the show, Russ Hedge, on here with us. And great to have you on with us. Check out Russ Hedge. Incredible. But yeah, let's keep this ball rolling. Let's talk about this. Now, we were talking about test closing, so we're going to skip over that. But I want to talk. You mentioned this before, Rob, and that is on the trust side. And we all know that it's a cliche to this point, right? People do business with people they know, like, and trust. Yes, it's true. Human nature. We don't, that phrase becomes too played out, but it's true. So here's the question for you, and community, type in #trust. Why is trust the foundation for influence that lasts, and how do you build it intentionally?
Okay. Why is it? Let's go there first. It's there because I can't ask people very sensitive questions about their business or their lives if they don't trust me. It would be like going to a therapist who you don't trust. And the therapist says, "Oh, come sit down. A nice meeting with you. So tell me about the problems you're having at home." If I don't trust you, I'm not telling you these things. I really do think that salespeople should think more like therapists, meaning I'm not really wasting your time about hearing about the family and different things, particularly if you're social, because I can't get at that problem yet. Or I hate to say it, most clients will just lie. If they don't trust you, they won't say, "I don't trust you." They'll say, "I don't really have an issue with that," because they're trying to get you out of there. So it's pivotal. It's the foundation. I can't get to where I want to get to, which is creating urgency around the problem, if I haven't created trust. So let's go to the second part of your question. How do you create trust? It's weird because at Xerox in particular, where we entire shoe without some sort of process, but And as they say, when you have a process, you have a way of measuring what you're doing. When you can measure it, you can fix it. The only thing that we struggled with was actually putting a process behind trust. In other words, do these 5 things in this sequence and everyone will trust you. Doesn't work that way. So there's sort of some best rules. And for instance, you knew I was going to come out with this one, but we better be asking questions early, and we better be listening. And that means I won't bore you with some of the studies there. I'll just tell you that overwhelmingly, when you poll clients and ask them about listening habits that really annoy them, it's being interrupted. It buries all the others. So we can't interrupt them, even if they're going a little slow. Let them go. So 1, ask questions. 2, and keep those questions open. 2, listen, and I mean listen, and take notes. And if the client, even if it isn't important to you, if it looks important to them, write it down. But 3, and this is an unusual one, don't talk about problems. Okay, don't avoid problems. I'm not really going to ask you if the Commanders are going to, take the division over the Eagles this year. I'm not getting that level of questioning. But if I'm in the financial industry, let's say, I do want to hear about how old the children are and what kind of funds we put where so far and what sort of needs have been appearing. Those are legitimate questions. No one's going to say, how dare you ask me where my child's going to school? But this is all very important to me. Okay. Mm-hmm. We get it. So, but avoiding the problem, let somebody open up a little bit more. Almost like if you watched the movie A Few Good Men,
Yeah.
Tom Cruise didn't say it started with you ordered the code red, right? He started with when was the first flight off the base? And hey, when you're giving orders, it always followed, very easy questions that allowed him to gather more information to go where he needed to go. Mm-hmm. We need to do that. So those 3 things, I'll give you a bonus 4, but I'm out of time on my 60 seconds. So can I get 20 more seconds on just one little one?
Go for it, Rob.
It's a tough one though. You got to begin with the end in mind. In other words, I sell training, for instance. So I may ask you, talk to me about some of the instructors that you've used in the past. Now, I haven't said, is there a problem with them? Do you hate instructors? But what I know that one of my strengths is I do a lot of the training in my business myself. I want to hear certain things that would provide an opportunity later. So as long as I don't pair it with any problem-related words, with the challenges with that instructor, nothing. Just who did it? Who conducted it? We do that. I think we get a head start on where we want to go. It's a very subtle area there. 10 more seconds. At Xerox, we had a machine that was real easy to use. Guess what question we asked all the time when I sold copiers? Who uses the equipment? Nobody complained. But there was a right and wrong answer to the question. In sales, when we know branding, Rob, when we know what our branding is, I think those questions begin to present themselves. Just drop the problem word out. You're good to go.
I love it. I appreciate that. Well, I had a few more questions, but we're good. We're at the bottom of the hour. This has been amazing. You need to reach out to Rob. Rob, we're really at the close here. So tell the community best way to reach you, any call to action that you'd like them to do, and we'll close things down here.
You'll wrap Jolles up. I got you.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So www.jolles.com will take you to my blarticle. Not a blog, not an article. It's a blarticle. It'll take you to the podcast. It'll take you to all kinds of stuff. And you can send me an email to training@jolles.com. JOLLES.com. You send that. I've got a little blarticle book that we just put out. Be happy to send it to anybody who shoots us an email.
Love it. Well, we appreciate you big time. Make sure to connect with Rob. Incredible. But thank you. We're going to have you go sit in the green room, and we'll catch up with you soon. All right.
You bet. All right. Thank you.
All right. Well, awesome stuff. Well, that was incredible. And fast paced. I love it. I love the energy. All right, next week, man, don't miss next week, Wednesday. And we're here every Wednesday. Bookmark it, as Rob says, episode 224, August 13th. Same bat time, same bat channel, 1 o'clock EST. Going from why me to why not me with Rebecca Babak. It's going to be a great show, great, amazing. And again, all of our shows are incredible. But I want to close with, and by the way, if you want to learn more, go to masterconnector.show. You can learn about up and coming episodes. Rob does a great job of putting and keeping everything up to date. We are booked all the way into 2026. It's crazy. But you'll see a good chunk of them. And whatever you're really excited about, make sure to register them. And I think they're all great. So in my opinion, you should register them all. So anyway, let's chat here. So Indra Nooyi, former CEO of PepsiCo, rose from humble beginnings in India to lead one of the world's largest corporations. She influenced her team by aligning company goals with a great purpose, championing health-focused products and sustainability without pressuring or manipulating stakeholders. Her authentic leadership inspired trust, drove innovation, and transformed PepsiCo into a more socially responsible and future-focused company. Folks, let's continue to lead with integrity and authenticity, along with a giving heart, so we can build trust and ultimately be the light. God bless. See you next week.
And you start to hear some of their challenges, and yes,
because it speaks to the core of who you are and what drives you forward. Because what makes you different is what drives you.